a lot of inquiries, and I work with relocation companies, and we specialize, me and my company. This was before the company was even launched. And I said, we specialize in housing displaced families. And I said, I hate telling them, no, I need more help. I see your home's beautiful, very similar quality to my property. I would love to work out a referral system with you.
Wow.
And then that's when they were like, oh, well, we get insurance contracts, and we deal with them a lot, but their home was about half the size as mine. So they were looking at my property and they were like, wow, your home is a 4,400 square foot home. We always tell them no because they're asking for larger homes.
Who's this? Oh, you're an entrepreneur? Oh, you're a real estate investor. Oh, you're trying to learn from those who did it. Well, come into the lab then. Put your white coat on, gloves on, notepad, and let's build, y'all.
Listen, Will, you're officially in the lab, my friend, and we were talking a good amount offline, but I wanted to open up with this because I believe in energy, and you have an energy that was contagious right away. And you are the reason, you are the kind of energy that I look for when I do all my social media, right? Because I want to pour in to attract the right people. And you're one of those people, right? And so when I do all those social media posts and etc., I'm speaking to people who share the same core values, who have the same work ethic, who have the same commitment. You know, I love what you and your wife are building together. I'm doing the exact same thing with my wife. You know, we are constantly learning, right? That's why I appreciate you listening to my podcast. I do the same. I listen to my other podcasts as well. I'm learning. I have the luxury of being able to share some of the insights that I've had in my lab by being able to help others, partners that I work with, that are other students of the game, practitioners who know that there's a better way out there, that who want to challenge the norm, challenge the status quo. So I wanted to give you your flowers for being so charismatic, because you do stick out. Like, people comment here and there, but you kept commenting, you kept showing up, and you kept listening, kept engaging. I'm like, dude, let's hop on a call. We hopped on a call with such great energy, and then you continue to share wins, and I'm like, dude, we got to get you on the pod. So with that said, Will Dotson, welcome to the lab, brother. How's it going, man?
Oh, I appreciate it, man. This is amazing. I've been, like I said, fly on the wall, a student in the back row, just man, a fan of just this space. And there's few leaders in this space that really give you the information that's applicable. Like, they don't just tell you, oh, it's MTR, this, that, but they give you information that you could apply, you could see the results from, and you stuck out like a sore thumb for me. So I'm happy to share this space in this time with you, man. I've been learning so much.
Man, for sure, man. You can lay back and relax. I want to just level set, because what I love is that, just like you and I, right? We constantly learn. We're applying new methods that are. It's funny because I thought about this, and I'm curious to see how you define who Will is. But recently, I was sharing this with a mastermind group I was speaking to, and I was like, when I think about it, I kind of like unconventional ways to do things. That's one thing that kind of intrigues me. Like, go left when everyone's going right. But at the same time, I want to do it with a proof of concept in place. I don't necessarily want to reinvent the wheel. Now, you and I both talk about offline how another thing that we can relate in is I was following one blueprint that was also given to me. And from, I was never that entrepreneur. And we talked about this. That's a little bit different than your wife. I never had a lemonade stand. But what you and I, it tells a good story, but I don't have that story, Will. I can't share that story. It's not something that I never sold baseball cards. No, I got good grades. I was a student athlete, so I loved competing, and I always had that work ethic from being an athlete, a student athlete. So I had that, and I think you and I both share that grit. But I'm curious to hear to you, what was that that thing that allowed you to go into what I call a very unconventional path in real estate that you've been able to just double down in? What was your introduction to that, considering that we share very similar core values and, having that work ethic, etc.? What was your introduction? I'm always curious. Who planted the seed?
Well, my wife definitely planted the seed. She gets all credit hands down because, like I said, I was 9 to 5 by mentality, just locked in. I want to wake up. I'm 15 minutes there early. I'm always trying to impress the boss. Like that was just me. I'm the best worker. I'm the best worker. But what she did was she just told me, she said, William, you're a systems guy. She was like, what if we just showed you a different system? It wasn't rocket science, right? Like it was like, okay, 9 to 5 is a system, but so is being an entrepreneur. So is opening your own business. It's a system. It's a little unconventional because not too many people are doing it and it's not so transparent. So it makes sense to everyone. It's constantly evolving, but it's a system. And that's what got me addicted. And that's when I started really breaking down like, oh, you mean I need a bookkeeper? I need an accountant. I need a proof of concept. I need a plan. I need to learn, am I going to scale or not? I need to have an asset. I need to, but once it made sense to me from a systems point of view, then that was the seed that planted. I looked at it just like that. Oh, this is a system.
Wow. Well, first of all, I'm so glad you went there because I didn't even know, and this is why I love conversation, because I didn't know it would go there, but it goes back to one of the things that I love. But one of the things I want to take a step back in is what you just said, right? You said you were a good worker. And when I hear you say that, or you were a great 9 to 5er, all I hear is when you're saying you're 15 minutes early, you're able to impress the boss. Within the system, you have discipline. Now, that's very important because not everybody has discipline within the system, but when you have discipline in any system, you can win in any system. Now, the only thing to keep in mind is, does your system have a cap?
Exactly.
And if your system has a cap, and if you're a disciplined person, you're listening to this, then all you need to do is do what you did, is change the system that you're in. Because can you coach discipline? I think you can. It takes a while. If you have that already, you're a hard worker, you might just be playing the wrong system. The reason I want to commend you on this is that you have discipline and grit, and unfortunately, unless someone's willing to invest into themselves and pay someone to help them get to that point, you're pretty much hardwired into that. Right. But what I love is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So what I love about this, you took that and changed the system, and you started playing a system that has what MJ DeMarco calls unlimited leverage. Are you familiar with MJ DeMarco, by the way?
I am.
Oh, I knew it, brother. There's something about you. Wait, tell me which one, which book?
Well, actually, before you mention that, you said something that sparked something when you said, when you change the way you look at something,
the things you look at change, or how you do one thing is how you do everything.
So like when you mentioned that was actually, I remember it like it was yesterday, man. It was 6 months ago, and I heard you say that on a podcast, and that was another like pivot point, like where, oh my gosh, man, I just go back to that moment. I remember exactly where I was when I heard it. I had you in my AirPods, and I heard that, and I stopped, and this was all during the transition. This is all during, because I fought it. Even though we were making money, it was cash flowing, the system was working. Like part of me was still like, part of it was like an identity crisis. And I kid you not, man, that's why like when you say like the energy and everything, even on social media, that was just the fumes. The car was built, you helped kind of put this piece together, and different mentors as well. But it was like, that was just the fumes of this engine that was already moving. And it was just little pieces, little things like that. And another thing too is, it's different from like consuming, all these great books and literature and seeing the phrases and quotes and everything. But I think what really was effective for someone like me coming out of this was going to a summit and seeing you, going to a summit and seeing, oh wow, I can reach out and talk to this person. He's right there. Wait a minute. Like, and that becoming so real, it really was just like, yo, like this is not a distant, because a 9 to 5er, you think that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you do. You're like, they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're living, So that's, I don't know. When you mentioned that, man, it came full circle again. But no.
Well, listen, you keep on hitting these key words that I can't ignore, because I think our souls we use words to express what's in our souls, right? And that's why I love to be very intentional how I speak. And one thing you're talking about is proximity, which I think is the ultimate hack. I think what a time to be alive, because when you listen to someone, right? I'm listening to Bob Proctor, right? Constantly, right? Personal development. He passed away. But I feel so in proximity to his mind and how he thinks based on what I'm listening to. And I think for anyone who's listening, if to change your paradigm, to change your life, you need to start listening to different types of information to then will allow you to see different systems that are right underneath your nose, right? It's just so fascinating when I'm constantly learning new things, because you and I were just talking about this offline, geeking out. I love to learn. I'm investing so much in myself. People, I think, would be blown away how much I invest in myself. I'm happy to disclose I invest a lot of money in my personal development. As much as I offer coaching and stuff, I get so much coaching, which I have a surprise for you, because there's a little thing I want to share with you that I want to invite you to after. But I think right now we're in an age with like YouTube, audibles. We can change our paradigm to then operate in a system that best serves us. I know one of my best friends always says that. Shout out to Larry. He always says, like, the perception and your reality has to best serve you. Because I think I asked this on a webinar once. I said, hey, do you think, Will, and I'm curious to ask to see what you think. Do you believe that, you're in a hot seat, brother. Do you believe that you, Will, can have a different reality than someone else?
Absolutely.
See, we're so sure that that's the right answer. But I think, Will, that we just happen to have different perceptions of reality.
Yeah.
Right? But we think it's our truth, but it's just a perception.
Great point.
I mean, it's an easy kind of trick question, because you're like, yeah, that sounds true. Like, their reality is different than mine. They live in luxury, they live in poverty, they live in they're oppressed. I'm not, like, but it's a perception, right? Now, to challenge that, it's basically, if there's one truth and everything else is a lie. And if your truth is your perception of that truth, if you're facing another direction, you're not seeing that angle. But from my perception, I see a different angle. My truth is perception has changed, right? But it's still the same reality. It's just from a different angle. So the reason that's crazy is because when you get in proximity, one of the things that a gentleman that I follow, shout out to Myron Golden, who's a coach of one of my coaches, or a peer of one of my coaches, he says you want to start getting close. And I wrote this in my notes. I wrote it in my note even today, that you want to get in proximity and move the way the people who are in a position that you want to be in move, see the way they see things. And he says it specifically. It's like the mental syntax that they have. You need to move the way they move, see the way they see things. Essentially, you need to change your paradigm the way that their paradigm is, right? And the reason this is so important to bring it all full circle is it all goes back to the system that they're operating in, right? The difference between the old Will and the new Will is just a different perspective and a different paradigm. And they're all in front of us, which is bananas when you think about that.
It goes back to that. You offer, you ask a poor, for lack of better words, you ask a poor mentality, hey, you want to buy a $10,000 bag? And they go, oh, no. But you ask a rich mentality, you want to buy a $10,000 bag? They go, well, how can I make money off of it? What's in it?
Yes.
What's in that bag? Can I, you ask those questions because you're, like you said, and part of that, like I said, I go back to my wife. I learned from her a lot because just in being in proximity to someone who thinks completely different, and is slowly like molding my brain to understand it and seeing it step by step, is just that. She always tells me, she goes, "We'll ask more questions." Right? Like sometimes, especially growing up, you live life. You want to, you kind of want to explain yourself. You kind of want to help people understand who you are, and you want to, you just want to talk, I guess. And she told me, she said, "William, ask more questions and listen more." And I watch what she does. She runs a sales recruitment, boutique business, and she's constantly talking with, CEOs and CFOs. And when I say talking, she's
Listening.
that's it.
Isn't that
And
fascinating?
fascinating, man.
And you know what? It should transition that, right? Because one of the things you said into what you're doing today is you've tapped into a niche, the midterm rental insurance niche. And one of the things I say is the best way to get information is to ask them the questions. They're the experts. They'll ask you, by the way, is there an admin fee? An admin fee? Well, there is now. Do you want to? So, so the beauty thing is asking them questions, because that's where I extract the most amount of information. Hey, how many claims are, Will, like how many claims are you getting per day? I'm just curious. And I think truly that the level, the quality of answer that you get is based on the quality of the question that you ask, right? So now I gotta ask you a quality question, Will, right? How did you get into this midterm rental insurance niche? And of course, I want you to share the receipts, because the numbers that you've shared with me, brother, are just mind-boggling. And you're sitting here in front of me in this beautiful location, guys. This is not a green screen. I had to ask Will to take down his green screen. If you're watching this on camera, Will is living his best life. Now, the reason I want to show you that is because Will had the work ethic and the right system, and I don't think many people are familiar with the system. And so, Will, could you enlighten us, A, like what this system is, because you're on these calls all the time, and B, I know I asked this before, who planted the seed, and I know you and your wife are in this together, right? Shout out to NovaHavens.com. But how did this specific niche within the niche come across your table, and why did they choose to continue to bite down on that apple?
Great question. So we initially started thinking that we were going to be short-term rental Airbnbers. We were addicted to the real estate Robinsons, and we were
shout out to the real estate Robinsons, by the way.
Shout out to them. Amazing. Tony, Sarah, amazing. And I ate up all their YouTube videos, and that was it. I didn't know about MTRs and very little about LTRs. I just knew that, hey, you know what? It's an easy business to just jump into. Not easy, but it's, if you pay attention, you can get into it fairly, fast. We went to the meetups. We then decided to jump into the summit. We went to the summit. All we had at the time was one property. So we had one primary, and it was in an HOA, 30-day minimum. But we didn't know anything. We just knew, we're going to live here in Southern California. We're going to buy Airbnbs. Business was going really, really well for myself, my wife. Like, when we were like, hey, we need to start spending some of this money and investing it. Fast forward to going to the summit. And Tony, actually, he said, hey, you should really look into 30-day rentals. Since you have that property, you should think about renting that out. So then I said, okay. And at the summit, I got the book 30-Day Stay by Ziona McIntyre.
Shout out to Ziona. We love to show love to our guys.
Shout out to Ziona McIntyre. I mean, and so I get the book there at the summit after he had said that, and I see Ziona there, and I run straight over to her. And I say, Ziona, I just bought your book yesterday. I'm trying to figure all this out. Just trying to create this system. Just give me one gym. One gym. I'm going to do a 30-day stay. We're gonna do it with this house, more than likely. And she said, go talk to Ruben.
I had no idea, by the way.
She said, go talk to Ruben. She said, what he's doing is something that is special. She said, I appreciate you read my book. I read it overnight. I did, I just put that Audible in. I sat back and I said, I'm here. I need to take advantage of every second. I read listened to the whole book overnight. And then she told me to go talk to you. Well, you had such a crowd of people around you that I know spend the majority of my time, or my wife and I were talking to your wife. And she said, hey, the best way is just to, follow on Instagram. You can learn a lot about what's going on. And I was like, man, this is fascinating. I couldn't believe that it was right there. And I was like, man, this is amazing. And then hearing about your experience with the insurance claims and everything, helping families, I was like, man, this just feels right. And so we got back home. I had messaged Ziona, I messaged Sarah, and then in their messages back to me on Instagram, they said you need to join mentorship. And just from my own past, I knew coaches and mentors. Like it was almost like an aha moment. I was like, yeah, like, like right, like of course I need a coach. Like I never, like I said, connecting the dots. And they told me, they said, hey, you should check out Jesse Vasquez. He's actually going to be at a meetup. Him and Rafa, Rafa, and shout out to Rafa. He's amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Rafa too. Awesome.
So I went to the meetup. The Robinsons were there. Omid was there, and Rafa, and Alex Savio, like all these guys. So I'm going to him, and I'm just like, hey man, I got this property. I know, like help me. And Rafa was the one. He was just like, man, look, join Jesse's MTR mentorship. And just put everything that you already know. He goes, you've already been watching Ruben's videos. You got so much information already. It's time to apply it. And so at the time we were getting ready to move to Nashville. So we moved to Nashville, and then that's when I said, I was like, okay, I'm going to pull the plug and just do it. Since it was a 30-day minimum, then that's exactly what I did. I put it on Airbnb, and Jesse helped me out with, some basic lease agreements and pet addendums and all the, necessary documentation. And that first day, 16 inquiries popped up.
Hold on.
First day.
You got 16 inquiries on the first day that you launched your 30-day stay listing.
Yeah. And
wow.
It was, mind you, I learned now that, looking back, I'm like, wow, that was special. That was a special moment. But on the day one, and what helped was actually looking at, it was, forget which episode, but it was your YouTube video where you were talking about how to identify an insurance inquiry compared to any other inquiry. Because 16 inquiries, I could have said yes to the first one.
To Joe Schmo next door.
First one in the door, I got to be loyal to you,
Wow.
And so what I did was I just looked through the inquiries and I addressed each and every one of them. I was excited, but that was it. I was able to spot one who just said, hey, I need to stay at your home. And the fact that he said need to me was like, wow. And so I responded back to him. And then sure enough, he said, hey, this is my situation. And I asked those penetrating, questions, hey, if you don't mind me asking, is, what's the reason for your stay? And he goes, man, my house, and he explained the whole situation. Obviously it hit the heart. Right. And, man, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was just a beautiful moment, brother. And they ended up staying for 4 months, and we did that through a relocation company, but we were able to do everything off platform as well. Once again, shout out to you for being able to take that off platform. First time. This is just a week into it. I joined the mentorship. 2 days later, I launched it on Airbnb, and I get 16 inquiries. A day later, we're signing a lease.
Wow. How did you, I know people are going to be wondering, how did you manage to take it off platform? Did he inquire for the 30 days, and how did that conversation go?
It was actually, he told me, he said, hey, I want to book it on Airbnb, but I'm afraid you're going to get bookings after, and I may need to extend. And I said, hey, and so I spelled my phone number out. And I just said, hey, give me a ring. I didn't say call. I didn't, I say, hey, give me a ring. And I spelled my phone number out and he called me. And that was it. After that, we were off platform and we were able to take everything,
Yeah.
And yeah,
Wow.
we booked it. We locked it in. That first one was overhead was 5,000 a month operating expense. And that one we locked in for 12,000 for 3 months.
Unbelievable. So
Yeah.
12,000, and so you're netting, is it the 5K or netting, is that what you're netting? 7.
Yeah. Yeah. So we netted 7K for the first 3 months. And then right after that, mind you, once again, double listing. Love that strategy. Did the double listing. So I just created a funnel, kept the place available, and just created a funnel. So we actually got another booking. It was 2 weeks in advance of when these tenants were getting ready to leave. And I had, I was in constant communication with them, asking about the repairs and if they needed to extend. And I do the 30-day minimum if you need to extend, because it takes time to have them do walkthroughs and all that. And they had a locked in set date. They were like, hey, no, I appreciate everything. This is when we're going to leave. So I went to work and it was a 3-day turnaround, 3-day gap, another insurance contract. And for that one, I explained in the beginning, I set the expectation in the beginning. I said, hey, you know what? Due to seasonality, this is our rate. These are our comps. And I pulled up different comps in the area. The 3 other comps were actually it's another property management company that does only insurance claims. So that was a beautiful thing. I was able to comp other insurance properties.
Interesting. Did
And
not know that.
Yeah, that was the key that I really took. That was the gym that I was like, oh, and I got in contact with them.
So you were saying, well, that no, this is really good. You were saying that you were looking at insurance company comps. So how did you know that the property management company specialized in insurance?
I called them. Yeah.
And
Called them
they
direct.
told you that they told you that they specialize in insurance?
Yep. Interesting conversation, because I called her and I said, hey, I get inquiries, a lot of inquiries, and I work with relocation companies, and we specialize, me and my company. This was before the company was even launched. And I said, we specialize in housing displaced families. And I said, I hate telling them, no, I need more help. I see your home's beautiful, very similar quality to my property. I would love to work out a referral system with you.
Wow.
And then that's when they were like, oh, well, we get insurance contracts and we deal with them a lot, but their home was about half the size as mine. So they were looking at my property and they were like, wow, your home is a 4,400 square foot home. We always tell them no because they're asking for larger homes.
Oh my gosh. I love, what I want to highlight there for a second, Will, is that it's interesting because, again, different paradigms will say, well, that's competition. No. That's collaboration. And I always say that to even if someone it's actually in your best interest, Will, to teach someone this strategy that's right next door to you. Why? Because when they get an inquiry and they're 100% occupied, guess who they're going to come to? You. So it means as if within a marketplace, there are now 2 properties that are marketing and attracting, so that when I'm full, I pour in your cup. And when you're full, you pour in my cup.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah. No, and that was such, and the cool thing about it was using their numbers as comps, because they understood the value of what they were doing. And it wasn't any guessing game. It wasn't any, just trying to cut corners. No, they said, no, we've been doing this for 3 years. Welcome to the market. Your property is, wow, cool. We would love to share and collaborate, as you brought out. And that's what it's been ever since. She now actually, I send her on Tuesday mornings when we send out our emails to our relocation specialist. That's a nice little gem that I picked up from you guys as well. I like Tuesday morning because all of my girls, it's all girls. That's why I say girls all the time. The women that I work with a lot, and they all say Monday morning, don't talk to us, but Tuesday morning, bring it on. We can start, But the property management company, she actually sends me her available inventory, and I add that to my list, and I do the same for her, and we exchange. And so now we're, and then also another thing is when I'm talking and networking either at meetups or because I throw in Nashville, I throw monthly MTR sub 2 meetups. I have so many sub 2 friends out there, and obviously you know the sub 2 world, my brother.
Look at my eyes. I'm like sub 2. Shout out to Pace Morby.
Oh, shout out to Pace, man.
Oh my gosh,
that's out there in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's super fascinating. But that whole, so whenever I mean another, I call them brother or sister in this MTR space that understands relationships and working and treating them well and, helping them at the end of the day, I swap relocation specialists. I say, hey, I got 18 that know me by name. How many you have? You have 20? Hey, let's here, you take my list. I still have mine, but we add to our list. So now,
so smart.
So now I have 38. And when I introduce myself, I use their name. I say, hey, so-and-so, I got your information from so-and-so. So now I'm taking, that relationship, and I'm nurturing it. And it's been such a beautiful, I've made 3 recent phone calls, and within the first 30 seconds, I know why you're calling. I said, actually, I'm so-and-so's friend, and I'm in Nashville. That's my market. Whatever you need. Oh, you know so-and-so. And it changed everything. It was just a beautiful conversation after that. So I see that as extremely valuable.
I hope you know that I've coined the term. We heard it here first from Will. List swapping. That is, you need to trademark that. And Will, it's so smart. And, shout out to Vivian as well, because, Vivian and I have done some list swapping as well. It is, and you and I, brother, will need to do some list swapping. It is so critical because now you're talking about, and I know you're familiar with this, we talk about building a brand. Brand association is everything. And brand association comes from proximity, another keyword, right? So when I have proximity to you, and I always say this to the folks that are in my network, it's like, hey, name drop my name if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that. Be like, one of my colleagues, that's one of my go-to. One of my colleagues mentioned that. That way, that in itself, people have their guard up. You know how much spam I get, right? Per day. It's like, hey, one of my colleagues, now I'm already interested, right? Okay, great, colleagues. Now, if I say Will and I love Will, and Will and I share the same core values, it's a slam dunk, right? That's actually one of my hacks that I always tell people because, I have this theory. I always tell my wife, some of our friends are married, some of them are not. I tell them, listen, I truly believe, I'm like, listen, if you're looking for a partner, you need to go to a mastermind where it's already vetted, stakes, right? High barrier of entry. People have been vetted. They share some of the core values because you're kind of giving yourself an extra chance because the mastermind's brand attracts a certain type of people. And I truly believe that, by the way. For all y'all who are swiping left and right, maybe you haven't found the right. And by the way, I'm not going to try to make it sound easier than that, but I'm saying if I was single, that's what I would do. Go to a vetted brand associated, because it's the same way when I go to a wedding and it's like, oh, you're Will's guy. Like if I love Will and I trust Will, and I know his integrity, I know his core values, you're pre-vetted.
And it's to me, it's more enjoyable. I mean, I enjoy the challenge of a cold call, but a warm one, warm it up.
No. I'm all about working smarter, not harder, Will.
That's it. Like when I get that warm lead where I'm like, oh, this is so-and-so's, go-to. Like they've been, they're on deal number 30 something together.
Mm.
Cool. How can I help? So when they pass that on, and I feel extremely privileged and grateful for receiving those calls now where they say, hey, Will, you're in Nashville. They know Mr. Nashville right here.
Love
That's
that.
that's my market, Mr.
Brand.
Nashville.
Love that.
Period. And when they call me and they go, hey, Will, Nashville, we understand your standard and we get it. So when I get those phone calls and they say, hey, take care of my girl, or hey, take care of my guy, and they call me and they treat me the same way they treat them, then I love those relationships. I do, if I can't solve the problem, and I tell them I don't overpromise at all. I used to in the beginning. I can find you something. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But no, I honesty is the best policy, brother. That's it. I learned that from my wife too.
Yeah.
But it is, and I don't overpromise. I just say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna work as hard as I'm like a dog. I'm gonna make sure that I get you something. And if I can't, I'm gonna let you know soon. I'm gonna go to my network. I'm gonna go to my database. I'm gonna spread the word, whatever I need to do. And if I can't, you will know.
Experiment Nation, you've heard the word MTR, midterm rentals, as it is currently a hot topic and hot commodity right now because, again, there has been an increase in short-term rental regulations, and there also has been, let's face it, a slowdown in what we were experiencing a couple years back when it comes to bookings. So with that said, short-term rental operators are looking for alternative solutions to tap into the midterm rental space. However, there is a sub niche of midterm rental insurance that I'm truly excited about, that I want to share with you, that the experience that we've had, the tremendous results we've been able to have, and that's the insurance midterm rental space, which is very different than your traditional midterm rentals. When you think of traditionally midterm rentals, you think of travel nurses. There is a space, midterm rental insurance space, that we've tapped in, where you need to be well connected with insurance and relocation specialists and companies and understand the right type of asset required for you to be able to help these families. What's really important that stands out the most, which you can get in what I'm about to offer you, is the understanding where to be found by these insurance companies, how to properly manage your calendar so that your listings are optimized so that they can find you, how to actually gain traction and build a relationship with these relocation insurance companies. I've put together an MTR insurance blueprint. That's MMTRRR insurance blueprint to cover these foundations after we've had success landing very large contracts on single family homes that literally 4x what we traditionally make in long-term rentals, and also gives us peace of mind because there's less turnover and 100% occupancy, because these contracts can start anywhere from 30 days to 3 months to 8 months and range anywhere from, again, we've landed anywhere from $8,000 to $9,000 a month in per month on a single family home property, which our mortgages are typically around the $2,400 range, which then gives you a large spread of anywhere from 4 to 6K net on just one property. And this is why it's very hot right now. But people who haven't been in the lab with individuals like myself, like Jesse Vasquez and Dr. Rachel Gainsborough and Noble Crawford, don't have the foundations and don't know exactly where to start. And therefore, this is why I'm giving you guys a blueprint, the MTRR insurance blueprint. Go to the website, experimentrealestate.com, and get yourself a blueprint to completely change, or at least have a plan B if you're a short-term rental operator looking to maximize your occupancy and profitability. We'll see you on the other side. That right there, by the way, it's so critical, and it seems like a very subtle, like I will let you know, seems like a subtle, but I know it's not subtle because most people can't even return a phone call back, right? So I think when you go the extra mile and you even do what you say you're going to do, which is crazy to believe that in itself will separate you from the marketplace. It will indeed. And it's those little things. And this is why I love what you said in the beginning, because I believe how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? Great worker, great work ethic. To me, if you're listening to this and you have great work ethic and you might not be in the right system, I think it's really important for you to activate your reticular activating system, for you to understand maybe there's a lot of areas in my life where I'm already, call it a gift or call it discipline. That's already a separating, competitive advantage that you can utilize in the right vehicle. Now, I want to share something with you, Will, and I don't know if, I think you might really geek out on this, but I heard someone say recently, and I don't know if I think it was Myron Golden, and he said something that really hit me, right? And I'd love to hear what you think your strengths are. He's like, most people are operating in their second or third zone of genius, like their best skill or strength. They haven't even tapped into their zone of genius. Like you might say, oh yeah, I'm good with numbers, so I do numbers, but you're really just naturally, you're just gifted at just listening to people. And you're just, but I'm an accountant because, I was a numbers guy and I've always been a numbers guy, right? And that was fascinating to me because I just thought, I'm like, oh my God, like, are you completely leaning into your unique advantage, right? And most of us are not tapping into our unique advantage. And the reason why that is so critical, because in a unique advantage is what that is. It's effortless to you. You already have a gift. We all have gifts. We just not are all familiar with what they are because maybe we're playing in the wrong system.
Ooh.
So
that's my word right there, man. That's so, oh man, you hit such a, just press pause and repeat that over and over. You're playing in the wrong system. I love that.
So Will, I got to ask you, what do you think is your competitive advantage that you think you've tapped into, or that is one thing that you're good at doing, or that you're continuously honing your craft? But the reason I want to highlight this is I want to see if it was still something you're tapping into the old system, which is okay. Maybe it was, or maybe it wasn't. Like, is there something that you feel that based on who you know, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this?
My advantage, and I found this out my mid-20s. My mid-20s, I knew that I know how to learn. That's it. I learned how to learn. And I never really knew, like, for example, when I was younger, if I wanted, whatever I wanted to do, I would find out how to learn how to do it. And that to me, like, I taught myself Spanish. But then I said, okay, does this work with any other language? So I taught myself Portuguese.
Jesus.
But with Portuguese, I cut the time in half. Spanish took 9 months. Portuguese took 4.5. When it came to welding, I said, well, what do I need? Like, how do I cut this time? And at the end of the day, Ruben, it's just watching someone do it who knows how to do it. That's it. But then at the same time, are you moldable? Are you teachable? Becoming the student that needs to be, so if I'm going to learn German, I'm not going to pick up a book. Why? Because I know how I learn. I need to go to Germany for a month, look stupid, and enjoy that. Embrace it. Ask the questions. Go and get all of my favorite things. Why? Because I'm going to use it every day. I'm going to go ask for coffee the way I like it. I'm going to learn that. Then I'm going to go learn this. I'm only learning the vocabulary that I'm going to use. Then I apply that every single day. It becomes muscle memory. So with this MTR space, how do I learn? I learn by interacting. I need to call people. Oh, you don't like to be called at 9 a.m.? Okay, I'm going to call you at 9:30. How about that? I'm going to send you a coffee tomorrow because I get it. Boom. And I document that. So-and-so likes this, this, and this, and this. I personalize it. Then I go to this person. Oh, she just got married a year ago. Okay, I'm going to understand. Oh, this guy, he's dating someone. Every single person is not the same. So it's a learning process. This is a human business, right? I mean, it's such a beautiful thing, but at the same time, this is not black and white, brother. We're in a rainbow. Every single call, if you're using a script, you lost. Use that script, put it in your heart, understand every single person.
Put it in your heart.
It's just that. And mind you, I go back to listening to my wife and hearing she's constantly on these calls. But then at the same time, go back to that question that you asked. Beautiful question, man. Was just that. It was, what is my strength? My strength is being able to learn period. So that's a beautiful question, man.
Man, I was shaking my head, experimentation, if you're listening to this, because I'm like, you're very wise, and it's so authentic how it comes. And it really, really I need to even re-listen to that because of how you said it. And, even saying that the script is in the heart, the reason why that it's just to unpack that, it's going back to, I think, so literally coming off a coaching call, someone asking, I don't know what to say to them. It's because you're thinking about yourself. And if you can start thinking about the needs of others and understanding what their pain point is and understanding what's in it for them and stop thinking about what's in it for you, I truly believe in the saying that if you help others, right, by Zig Ziglar, get what they want, if you help as many people get what they want, then soon you will get what you want. Unfortunately, we start thinking about, again, it's a paradigm, what we want, and we miss the complete life cycle of what life is about and what entrepreneurship is about. It's about solving a problem. It's about it's about providing the supply to the demand.
Boom.
And once you stop making it about you, my properties, my portfolio, I'm not getting booked, I'm not getting traction, it's because you're asking the wrong questions and you're looking at it from the wrong lens. It's not about you. It's about the other person on the other side. It's about the families that are going to relocate. And if you can start thinking about that, changing the paradigm, you will then change the trajectory and outcome of your business. And it's an amazing thing to think about. It's very simple, but you said that. The script is in the heart.
Mm. Yeah. I go back to one of your Instagram videos where you're on the phone and you're talking to, you're negotiating. And it was something so cool about it. Seeing it live, for me, it was just that. I needed to see it live. No one else was posting live videos. You did. So shout out to you for doing that.
Thank you, brother.
Because seeing that live, I was just like, oh, huh. I was like, he's just being him. He's just trying to help fix a problem.
Yeah.
When was the last time anyone's tried to fix a problem? Like, people normally do that on the transition. Now you're doing it here. You're fixing a problem. You're helping somebody.
Yeah.
I like the first person, like, the money's great.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. But seeing and hearing, I personally love talking to the families.
Oh my God.
Right?
Can we talk about that though? Let's just put that into perspective, because I don't think people don't understand that this is a complete different avatar. This is not I found a hair in the wrong place and I'm about to just wreak havoc, right? No, this is like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because without your home, we didn't have a home. And I always like to ask the question, what is the alternative?
Right. And I love even knowing we're in the lab, brother. So knowing the science behind it, that was, to me, like, that's why I became addicted to this podcast for just that reason. I was like, man, that it really is. You understand the science, and then you're better equipped to help, because what you're providing isn't just a cookie cut solution. What you're providing could be tailored to understanding, okay, hey, you know what? If the budget allows me to give you more, then sure, I'm going to provide you cleaners. You want a dog walker? I'm going to throw that in. Like, I'm going to make sure the house is in tip-top shape. You're not going to worry about the things breaking on you. I care about your stay.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is like, and then the thing too, and I thought about this because I had somebody check in 3 hours ago. And I like sending a little gift basket when they get there.
Oh, you're such a good soul.
Well, and the thing is, the guy gets there and, him and I, we worked on this deal together for 2 months because the adjuster was saying, nope, I don't like that budget, yada, yada, Well, the guy was coming from a $3.5 million home. The home he was being relocated into, my home, is half the size of his home.
Mm.
So he's coming from a 9,000 square foot home, and he's going to a 4,400 or 4,500 square foot home. And so he told me, he said, Will, the adjuster isn't approving this, but I know my rights and I will make a stink and I will do whatever. And it became just that. And because of being in the lab and understanding the science behind it, I said, well, it's the end of the year. They're probably worried about budgets and so on and so forth. So I helped them understand. I was like, you can assume that this can happen, like this is, but I was so happy that he understood his own coverage D, like, kind, and quality. I was talking to somebody who already spoke the language. And it helped the negotiation because instead I say, hey, look, this is what we're going to have to do. Instead of $17,000 a month, where we're covering $500 of utilities capped, and we're also covering $500 per month cleaners. I said, I think he's just worried about that number. I said, let's reduce it down to 16,000. This was collaboration with my wife, mind you. Let's reduce that number down to 16,000 a month. But you guys pay for the utilities. And if you guys want cleaners, you guys build that. And I said, let's just see if that gets approved. I called Tanisha Spencer. Shout out to Tanisha.
Oh, Tanisha, I can't believe it. All right, that's it. I'm putting together a mastermind. Our beautiful people.
She is amazing.
She is unbelievable.
Whoever doesn't know Tanisha, like
she's a hidden gem.
I called her and I said, Tanisha, and I explained it. And she just gave me a couple little, just things that you can only hear from Tanisha.
She's unbelievable.
And it got accepted within 2 days. And I loved what she said at the end. She goes, William, please let me know how it goes. I love that she wants to hear the results. Yes. And I love the people that are in this proximity. Like, we're more like, did the family get a house?
Yeah. Can we talk about the root cause for a second? I love that. Did the family get a house?
And they did. But that goes to, again, I'm telling you, brother, a lot of what you say, don't think it lands on deaf ears. If it lands in my ear, I have a megaphone, because one of the things that even when reaching out to Tanisha and her giving me that excellent advice, and then taking in all the gems from your podcast, YouTube, Instagram, taking all that, and then I love what you said. Relationships are a moat in this industry. Like, it is, like, that is it. Like, we are on an island here, and without those relationships, like, you can't cross over that bridge. No. So if I didn't have access to Tanisha at that moment, if I didn't have access to even understanding, like, how to navigate that specific, that was the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah.
Seconds left. It was make or break. And we even negotiated the check-in, because the family that was leaving, they were leaving on the 25th. And I told them, I said, hey, they wanted to come in December 1st. And I said, hey, if you guys could come in December 28th, give us those 3 days to really just make this house just beautiful for you. We can make this happen. We negotiated everything. And like I said, it was that one-on-one connection, understanding human to human. Let's make it work. The adjuster saw the number drop. He liked it, got accepted. But it was a collaboration. It was just that. It was the proximity. It was the relationships. When people jump in this space and they think, oh, when am I going to get an insurance contract? It's just like, hey, you know what? Think about the family. Think about what you're offering. Because think about the people that are already doing it, and ask them questions. Ask them beautiful questions.
Oof. That's the motto. Ask them beautiful questions.
Brother, how is your 2024 looking, Ruben? I already know you.
Listen, with people like you in my life, it's looking bright. I am so happy to be helping. And I think, going back to the core, when I look on that wall, it's not even, yes, we all have financial numbers, but I'm very, very clear. And when I write down, even in my journal, it's like, it's helping X amount of displaced families. Because if you do that enough, it's gonna pencil out. And I think if we start focusing on that, going to the core, remember, I've always said this, and I know you're probably familiar with this, right? You get paid in proportion to the level of difficulty of problems that you solve. That's why you were. What's the spread on that? The 17,001.
It's a 12. Yeah, we're doing on that one. We're doing it's a $12,000 a month spread because, yeah, and
We
that's
call that net. That's
yeah,
cash flow per month. Just to let the right know, because I really want to put that into perspective, because it's not one dimensional, and people want this one dimensional. This is 3-dimensional,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when it is 3-dimensional, and when you are doing these things, and you are solving big problems, and when you are building relationships, and when you are getting creative, and when you are tapping into your network, and when you are asking for guidance and coaching, you said it. It wasn't just one thing. It's all these things that came together because you did the work. You were rewarded for doing so, highly compensated as you should, while helping a family. And that is the law and fundamentals of entrepreneurship and life, period, right? Energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Oh man, you nailed it. And one of the coolest things about it was just today, while they were checking in, because I had that gift basket there. He texted me. He said, "Hey William, there's a gift basket here. Did someone leave it here?" And I said, "No." I said, "That's for you." I said, "Hey," I said, "it's for you and your wife. You had told me, some of your favorite wines and crackers." And he goes, "Oh man." And I said, "I know you have your son has a dog that comes to visit." So I set out a little dog bed in the corner. I said, because they're going to spend the night. And he told me, he said, "Hey," he said, "I appreciate that, man." He said, "Today was a rough day." And he just explained because they had got COVID while they were traveling and stuff. And I asked him, on the end of the call, returning back to business. And I said, "Hey," I said, I'm so happy to help. Obviously, like this is, you guys were picked at the end of the day. We had multiple inquiries, but you guys were picked. So enjoy the home. And I'm just curious, do you know the progress of your home? Have they started construction? He goes, "William," he goes, "I know we have a 3-month lease agreement, but this will go longer." And so I said, "Hey, I'm just here, whatever you need, brother." And that was it. So, I mean, we're talking about 3 months netting $36,000. And hearing that it's going to go longer, obviously it's like, okay, well, what other properties can I acquire now? And how many other families? And then also, I'm co-hosting and I own other properties in Nashville, a duplex, STR, like, so we're up and moving, but I go, you know how it is, your first anything, that was the first. So that one holds a special
Of
place in my
many.
heart.
Oh my goodness, of course. And it gets, for me personally, it gets me addicted to being able to have a larger impact and do more. How do I get more of that? Because I'm getting great feedback from the family. I'm highly compensated for doing so. How do I create a brand around this? Right? How do I say no? How do I choose to do business and help the people that I want to help? Right? Like, for me, that's what's so special about this. And I'm so happy because and I wanted to say this too, because as we were talking, the reason I say I'm a student, I'm listening to you and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta level up. Right? I can enhance the quality of the quality. And mind you, we're doing this, but not at your level, brother. I gotta give you flowers. You know that the dog, the wine, and there's levels to this. And you're actually taking it to the next level. And I want to give you flowers on the air because I'm learning from you while I'm here and I'm taking notes. I'm like, my goodness, this guy's building a CRM, but he's focusing on the quality and not quantity. He's talking about, he knows what kind of coffee the relocation specialist works, but he doesn't stop there. He knows that the family has a dog, that they had COVID. Like, this is the kind of level of detail where if I were to ask someone who maybe hasn't gotten a contract or maybe is looking to want a contract and ask them those questions, well, what do you know about your guests, your potential guests? And they can't tell me anything. That right there, right, is the difference. And you might think, oh, but what's the difference? It's just a gift. No, it's how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because if you do that, that means you're looking at all the details. You're doing the quality assurance the exact same way. You're doing your bookkeeping the same way. You're following up on calls the same way. And that compound effect, folks, is what is going to separate Will from the pack, and what is separating Will from the pack. And my goodness, I can't tell you how excited I am for your 2024, for you to continue to share these wins, the impact, and of course the receipts to go along with your name and the brand. So shout out to you and your wife, man. My goodness, Will, this is amazing.
We're students, man. Like I said, it goes. I love the beginning story to this whole process. When Ziona said, "Go talk to Ruben," and it just made so much sense, brother. You make so much sense in everything that you're preaching, you're teaching, you're talking. I mean, you walk the talk. You're the real deal. And I'm in Jesse Vasquez's mentorship, and mind you, Jesse is the real deal as well. I love the brother, like, and he was the one. I think one of the things about Jesse that I love the most was he really helped me a lot with the hospitality side of it. Like, he does a phenomenal job. He breaks down the numbers, he analyzes and stuff, but the hospitality side of it was something that I really was just like, man, this guy, he's so, he's just so genuine. And then when I tap into you and Rachel, and I just love how you guys understand the science of it. And when I talk to, like, I have I have 4 properties that I'll be onboarding as co-host when I go back to Nashville. But out of those 4 properties, when I say onboarding, I really should say like interviewing, because Jesse was the one. He said, Will, he said, don't be hungry. He goes, not everyone's going to be able, you're going to be able to work with. I never understood that part. I thought, hey, once I'm on, I'm going to get co-host jobs and that's it. It's going to be on and I'm going to get money and this. But sure enough, out of the 4, I think maybe 2 of them I'm going to be able to work with, because I told one of them, I said, hey, not all insurance contracts we're going to be able to accept. What do you mean? I said, well, if it's going to be a difficult situation, if they have a cat, if they have, I mean, I love cats and dogs, but if the pet is this and that, there's certain criteria, certain standards. And, it's just that we're looking out for the people we're helping, the landlords, we're looking out for the family, but at the same time, we're protecting the entire sphere, the entire relationship. It's more than just a bottom line number at the end of the day.
100%. And what you're talking about is brand alignment, right? You got to be aligned with the brand. And I recently had to do this, and it wasn't easy. It was actually right before Christmas, but unfortunately I had to do addition by subtraction, because someone on our team who's a manager, the standards were no longer the same. And we had been working with her for quite some time, unfortunately. But your brand, your vendors, your partners, right, your clients need to be aligned with your brand, because at the end of the day, your name is on the line, and your name is everything. I remember there was I've never forgotten Mr. Match. I can't believe it. This guy was a math teacher. Everyone thought he was a complicated, go on these tangents, but I always listened to the message, right? He said, Ruben, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation. It takes one moment to ruin that reputation. I was like, it's so funny, because I don't know why that resonated with me, but it did. And it's your brand. Your name is everything, and so is your brand. And the second that it's no longer aligned with where you want to go, you want to make sure that it is, because that's everything. That's all we have. Our word is our bond, and so is our brand. And so once there's misalignment there, it could kill a brand.
Nike doesn't sponsor everyone, brother.
That's a fact.
Nike doesn't sponsor everyone.
That's a fact.
All athletes aren't up to what they want and what they want to represent their brand, and so on and so forth. So it's the same, taking that approach. Even it's smart.
Yeah.
And it's at the end of the day too. It's we're in a business where we're helping families, we're helping relocation specialists not be stressed out with heavy workloads, high demand. And if we can't help them properly, then we're not, we're not helping ourselves. We're not helping anyone. So, but as I consider myself still a newbie in this space, man, I'm looking forward to 2024 to just grow and expand. You'll see my comments all over your page.
Likewise, brother.
The thing is it's like this. If you're playing basketball, I'm gonna be like, whoa, that's my boy.
Yep.
I would be. Why? That's who I am.
Yeah.
So when I see somebody that I'm learning from, that I can grow from, and that I've already grown from, that I got receipts from, you gotta knock it off. I'm flowering it up all day.
Thanks, brother. By the way, man, iron sharpens iron. I'm gonna be re-listening to this. I'm gonna be, matter of fact, we should have definitely. I'm gonna once we get offline, see how we can continue to mastermind together periodically, man. I keep a tight knit circle, and when someone is from the same cloth, you got to embrace that and not let the my coach is teaching me how to not call it serendipity, because I love that word and I think it's a beautiful word, but he corrected me recently because I have a mindset coach, and he said, Ruben, it's not serendipity, it's by law.
Ooh.
I was like, all right, coach. So I love that word because I think there's a lot of what I used to call serendipity that used to happen, but no, it's the same. I believe in energy. It's the same. It's being on the same frequency level.
I actually, speaking of what you said, you posted something where you had, it was you, Jesse, Rachel. I saw Tanisha in there, and I seen that, and I was so fascinated. I said, "Oh my word!" The conversations right there. So I reached out to Mike Stone, who was on your, because he's from Jesse's mentorship. And I reached out to David Kameninski, who is another heavy hitter. He's like under the radar. I love this guy. He's fascinating. He does this MTR insurance arbitrage. It's just fascinating what he does. And then my other guy, Peter, all from the same mentorship. And we do a twice a month accountability group.
Oh,
and when
count me in.
So it was funny because when we had already talked about, hey, you were like, hey man, I want you to come on. I was fascinated. I was like, man, that's exciting. And then I saw Mike on it. I said, Mike, you're on it too, man. So today,
my people.
I was just like, you know what? It's something like you said, serendipity, but it was something that just at the end of the day, I was like, it was a confirmation. It was like, hey, you know what? This is right. Everything's going exactly how it should. Absolutely. I love the accountability, as I'm sure you're obsessed with it at this point, because it's just that. It's, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? And I told the guys in the last group, I said, because we went around the group and we said, hey, why do we like doing this? And I told them, for me personally, I like to fail fast. The faster I fail, and I could fail faster in a team of guys or girls who are doing similar,
Yes.
Hey, what did you do? Hey, what did you do? Okay, cool. We're all failing together. And now we've just skipped 6 months ahead, a year ahead.
Well,
this space is going, people are catching on to what's going on, obviously, and it's all good. Welcome. We need more people. There's a lot of claims to be filled, but at the same time, in order to stand out, you got to stay just as, sharp. So
that, and you know how I feel about this space. You have a unique advantage when you build the relationships early. If I like Will, why am I going to go somewhere else?
That's it. I know him, he knows me, and we're all good.
Yeah. Unless the brand, something doesn't align anymore, and this is why your brand is so important. Because if I like the brand, why am I going to switch? Why am I going to go to Adidas if I like Nike? Unless I twist my ankle with Nike, but even then, is that really Nike?
That's it,
right? So hey, shout out to Nike if you guys want to sponsor this episode. Might have to get a little swoosh on the lab coat. Listen, speaking of brands, I want to make sure the reason I love to talk about the man and the woman and whoever is behind the brand is because I truly believe that the people, right? It's people doing business with people always, right? And then people are a reflection of the brands that we create. So I want to give it a second to highlight what NovaHavens.com is, obviously know who the people behind it are, and which I love and trust very much and respect. So I'm so happy for you, brother. But tell me about Nova Havens, what it is for people so we can check it out. Whoever's listening, and know that you are the king of Nashville when it comes to the MTR insurance with your queen as well, working together, which I love. Tell me, brother, what is it?
So Nova Havens is just that we are a housing solutions provider. We specialize and we focus mainly working with relocation specialists, helping displaced families find housing. It could be anything from a 2-bedroom, 1-bath to 5-bedroom. The larger properties, obviously, those are our number one go-tos. And then we also have a co-hosting side to our business. But at the end of the day, you come to us and we're going to try to find you a home. Our market is Nashville. That's what we specialize in. And then, I have access to other properties. I reach out to all my friends in this space.
Yes, sir.
To try to help. I don't know Virginia like Tanisha knows Virginia. If I know somebody, I don't know Atlanta like Atlanta.
Mhm.
So if I get a claim, I'm not going to be an idiot and try to, I'm gonna go to Atlanta and try to work something out. And I'm like, hey Ruben, you got something out there in Atlanta? I got a claim. And really spend that time sharing and focusing on solving that problem. But Nova Havens, we have our personal properties that we own and manage, and then we also have properties that we co-host. Right now, we're at 14.
Oh, good for you.
And we're just growing it. And if I can drop a big tip to anyone, Corona, California, that's a hidden gem. That property that we mentioned earlier that's been doing well. That's out there in Corona, California.
And now, are those all hybrids? Do you do like both short term and midterm rentals, or have you? Yeah.
I'm a student of yours, of course, brother.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we do the hybrid. The thing about Nashville right now, it's a lot of people went to Nashville and bought split lot units. Have regulations against allowing those units to be short-term rentals.
Really?
Yeah. So we actually, when we bought in Nashville, we bought with the intention of living there for 2-3 months, setting it up, making it nice and pretty, and then moving out and doing a kind of like a leapfrog, buying another primary every 6 months. And when we got there, sure enough, we did our due diligence, I thought, but it taught me that we needed to be in a space that was more of a gray area, that was a little bit more bulletproof. And that's what really married my wife and I to the MTR, strategy, MTR space altogether, because of that. I call it like we're a ghost. We can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And we can operate. And that's been the real, when I do my meetups in Nashville, it's just that. It's a lot of people who are like, hey, I came here and I bought 3 properties to STR and I can only month to month rent them. So they're unfurnished and I'm just breaking even. And I tell them, I'm saying, hey, well, let's collaborate. $6 to $10 square foot to furnish it. Let's talk about renting furniture. Let's look at our options. And I will keep your property in my database and I will let you know, because my problem is inventory and your problem is tenancy. So let's meet in the middle.
Love that. Oh man, you locally, you build those deep roots with both homeowners and the companies, and you, sir, will solve a lot of problems and be highly compensated for doing so. And I'm preaching to the choir here, my friend. I don't need to tell you that because I don't have a 12K net month to date yet. So I'm inspired by your numbers. I'm inspired. Seriously, I mean, it's all about what you keep in, right? And this is amazing. This is an amazing milestone that you've hit, and you've set that bar high. So, but yeah, I'm preaching to the choir. But keep going, brother. Do not stop. I think when you think of Mikey, when you think of all these 100 million, I know ALE Solutions, 100 million company, they started the exact same way. We're just one or many connections away from setting up the infrastructure where you now have relocation specialists as well. Like it's the same business model. And I know Dave knows this, right? Right. Kaminsky, right? It's,
Yep.
He's essentially started to do that. I think we're all in a position to elevate and bring ourselves there. And then we can be in a position where we have assets that we control, own, and operate. And we also have a book of business that is very sellable, just like the book of business of a financial advisors. Financial advisors sell their book of business all the time. So call it list swapping and building, but one day you're going to be calling it list selling.
That's it.
Did we bring that full circle, brother? I think we did.
Circle, man.
Woo!
That was
cool. Well, I knew this was going to be crazy. So before I close this off, guys, follow this gentleman. Will Invested on social, nohavens.com. Will, I cannot wait. You're going to be back in the lab. I'm letting you know right now, whether you want it or not. I'm going to chase you down if I have to. I want part 2. I recently just had Dr. Rach for part 2. It was so overdue. We waited so much time. So I do not want to wait for another 50 episodes until I have you back, brother, because I know that. I know this. I surround myself with a lot of people. When I say I feel that you're just taking off and you're going to take off and go soaring, I mean that. And I'm not just saying that. And I don't say that. You guys have heard the podcast. I know you listen to it. I don't just say that to everybody. So you have the energy, you have the work ethic, you have the connections, you have the brand, you have the model, and you have the receipts. So, brother, I couldn't be more honored to have spent time in the lab with you. And I just want to thank you for stepping in here with me, man. This is another special that goes on in the books, man. That's how you finish the year.
I appreciate it, man. No, I was thinking about it because this has been a treat for me. You got to understand, like coming from, tapping your shoulder at a summit to, being on the podcast. This is a place where I've spent so much time learning. So, I mean, to be even mentioned in the same names, Rachel and so on and so forth. I mean, to me, it's just, I am 100% grateful for everything you do.
Thank you, brother.
My brother, I mean, you're one of the few people I don't have to say, don't stop, because I know you won't.
Thank you, brother.
When I do look at my Instagram and you pop up, it's just that. It's like, cool, what am I going to learn today? Because you always have great content. I love the emails. I love the sphere of information that you create. And man, for anyone else out there that's listening, go back, listen to all the, 250 plus episodes we're at now. So, I mean, I can just, dive into it, look at the titles and learn about adjusters, learn about the real estate game, learn about insurance, and learn about it from Ruben's perspective, because he just gives you a beautiful one, and it's holistic, man. So I appreciate everything you do, brother. I appreciate being here.
Thank you, brother. Those words are heartfelt. And just like that, we'll be keeping tabs. You will be back, sir. And just like that, Experiment Nation, we are out. Experiment Nation, podcasting has changed the way we operate as real estate investors ourselves, and it can do the same for you. Podcasting has been the source of the masterclasses that we get thanks to the world-class real estate investors and practitioners and specialists that come into the lab from all realms, from short-term rentals to midterm rentals to real estate syndications to even software as a service. Owners, founders, entrepreneurs have helped enrich our experiments by giving us the education, helping us build a network, and lastly, and most importantly, a brand association to open up multiple doors for our respective businesses. If you understand the power that podcasting can have, and you know that you need one for your brand, please, you can rely on our team. InvestedTalent.com is my team and the team that helps this podcast, the Real Estate Experiment, become the fruition each and every single week to educate my community, build relationships on the air, and continue to build our brand. If you know that you need to do the same for your brand and you haven't pulled the trigger yet, maybe because you don't know how, our company, InvestedTalent.com, does the end-to-end from the time that you record, from the time that it is published, to even repurposing content on multiple social media platforms. That's what my team can do for you. Simply go to InvestedTalent.com and book a discovery call to see how my team can help you launch your podcast.